Rangers Football Club sitting 8th in the league, just one win all season. Absolute chaos. Things have to change, and fast. So I'm stepping in for an emergency rebuild to bring Rangers back to glory. I know a lot of you watching are die-hard Scottish League fans, and honestly, I couldn't just sit by and watch this happen. The mission? Simple. Win every Scottish trophy possible within 5 seasons. We're rebuilding the squad, reshaping the tactics, and transforming Rangers into a powerhouse once again. Oh, and before we kick off, the tactic and the save file are already up on my Patreon, where this month, to celebrate FM26, there's 40% off, so make sure you go and have a little look. Let's get into it. So then, Rangers Inside Football Manager. We've been here before this year quite a few times, but this is a bit of a different time because the club are in absolute crisis. They're in 8th place in the Scottish League. Of course, the manager has just been sacked in Russell Martin. Pretty sure most Rangers fans will, pretty much every Rangers fan will be very happy to hear that news. And again, any part of this video you really like what you see, be sure to leave a like and subscribe, because we're going to have rebuilds coming up until the FM26 period. And then when that game drops up, we're even increasing the amount that we do. So your team will definitely get a feature next year. Now, the big challenge here is actually where they should be, right? They should be up there with Celtic, fighting, battling, league in, league out, you know? If we look at the actual Premiership, go to the past winners, obviously Celtic are quite dominant, they have been for the past few years, but we are a team that can be either second place or take it off their hands, as we did in the 2020 season. Now, it's definitely not looking like that this year, and that is why I thought, do you know what? I'm going to come in, there's no certain restrictions, no certain challenge, the only thing I want to do is take Rangers back to where they belong. Now, as a club, they have won 1 European Cup, 55 William Hill Premierships, 34 Scottish Gas Men's Scottish Cups, 28 Scottish League Cups, 1 William Hill Championship, 1 William Hill League 1, 1 SPFL Trust Trophy, 1 William Hill League 2, and 47 Glasgow Cups. So they're a team that have won quite a fair few trophies to give them their dues. Now, as a team, the owners love the club, the finances are secure. However, speaking of money, in this league you very rarely get a big budget to play with, but luckily we've got zero debt. So at the end of the day, whatever money we do have, as long as we don't put them in debt, we are going to be in a very good place to spend. The reputation is 3.5 star. Give me 5 years at the club at minimum. I want to see that turn to at least 4. The training facilities and youth recruitment, well, the youth recruitment is actually perfect. The training is as good as close to perfect. The youth facilities are average. So, do you know what? A lot we can improve. I mean, the first thing I want to do is just get us back firing in the league, you know? European chase, the success, the Champions League. Now, this is something that, of course, if I sit here and say I've got no interest in winning, I'm lying to you, aren't I? But are we going to do it in 5 years? I honestly don't know. This is all about getting them back on top over in Scotland, i.e. the Premiership, the Scottish Cup, and the League Cup. I want to win as many as I can, because that is what true Scottish football is about. Now, of course, when it comes to the staff and everything, there is definitely room for improvement. For example, we're going to get a head of sports science, physios, doctors, you know, loan manager, maybe another scout, set piece coach, head performance analyst, head of youth development. You know, we need to make sure we get this all locked off and very secure, because that also plays a big part in these rebuilds. Now, tactics, again, if at any part of this video you want to grab the tactic and the save file and all of these cool perks, you can go and check out the Patreon, because we have got content flying out every single day, and even more coming for when FM26 lands. So make sure you go and check it out, like 6,000 of you guys already have. Now, this is going to be the secret tactic. It was a tactic that I made on live stream not so long back, and it does feature 3 AMs, which is a little bit unique, but I think it really suits this system because we don't have too many dedicated wingers. However, we have got a lot of players that can play in AM. For example, we've got Antman, we've got I always butcher this guy's name, so I'm going to go with Nadeem. I'll say his first name. We've got Dowell as well, but then you've got Moore, Diamande. Obviously, this guy is an absolute baller. If you can get him playing and he develops really well, he's one of my favourite players in the game, and that is not exaggerating at all. He can become that good. Obviously, up front, you've got Shemiti. He's a decent finisher. Is he going to win me the league? I think he could do. I think they're actually, for strikers, they're actually somewhat set. You've got him. Obviously, you've got Moore. You've got Danilo, who again is an absolute absolute bagsman. If you get him right and performing, this guy can bag goals, so super excited to use him. These 3 AMs are all decent, but I think, without sounding too harsh, each one could be improved down the line. Moore's an interesting one, of course. Mikey Moore coming in from Tottenham on loan, a player that I doubt we can afford after the loan spell, but for a season I'm sure he is going to chip in and help me push up the league table a little bit. Deeper into the team, you've got King and you've also got Raskin. Of course, Raskin is a player who I actually quite like a fair bit in the game. Decent pass and range, good first touch, good acceleration, good pace on him, good work rate, good vision. Just a really, really good DM who I'm hoping we can keep. Next to him, in Leon King, he's average. Putting it bluntly, he is pretty average, so I'm not going to waste too much time talking about him, as we are going to have Barron and also Rothwell, who again, decent, pretty average, and also he's 30 years of age, so there is a lot of room for improvement in this team. For example, in our 11 we've got a loanee Max Aarons who might not even want to join at the end of this season. If he does, I'll snap him up like that, because he is a really good right back for this level of football. His only weakness is his crossing, so I'm happy to take that on board and work with him. Now if we lose him, then right back wise we're gonna have one, which obviously is Tavernier, who is a bit of a Rangers legend, I'd like to say, but he's 33, he's only going to be getting older, so he'll be retired in this video, so that's a little bit of a worry. Obviously when it comes to the centre back, we have got Derek on loan. He looks pretty decent, a little bit sluggish, and a player that I probably won't sign permanently, to be honest with you. But apart from him, again, you know, we've got two centre backs. We've got Nasser here, who again is okay but not exactly great, and out on loan we are going to have Ben Davies, who of course is now 29 years of age. So we've got a bit of a back line that is crying out for rotation. I mean, we don't have another left back, and our left back in Dujon Sterling is not even really a left back, so we have got a lot to do at the back. In goal, I'm going to stick with Butland for a few seasons, but the back line is actually quite shaky because 50% of it aren't even our players, and the players that we do have, you know, to be fair to Sutar, he is not bad, but again a little bit slow. So yeah, a lot of improvement needs to be done there. When it comes to the strikers, we're very, very comfortable. The AMs, we've got very, very good depth, but I think we can somewhat improve it, and when it comes to the DMs, we can improve 100%. Now this tactic is all about overlapping runs, so I want to get good creative fullbacks into the system. The tempo is going to be set to higher, so we are going to be playing quite aggressive football. We are using a much higher defensive line, and we are also counter pressing, so I need to build a team of hard working individuals, two very good attacking fullbacks, and players that can hack playing a much higher defensive line, which these centre backs may struggle to do so. But in season 1, we're going to get into it right now and see exactly what we've got in the tank. I would like to see a minimum of 2 Scottish trophies coming back. Again, this is not a question of if I can win a Scottish League in 5 years, because if I don't, I failed massively. This is more of a question of how many, and can we end this video saying, yeah, we are that Scottish team. We're not just falling off, we're back. And right into the Scottish Cup final against the mighty Hibs, and we're going to take the lead pretty early on, to be fair, into the first half. A great ball across, and Schmitty is going to make it 1. Now this game, genuinely, I was quite confident going into, because they are a decent team, but they're no Celtic, are they? And do you know what? I sort of had to bite my own tongue a little bit, because they actually equalised just inside of that second half, and the game at this point could have gone either way, but it is going to lean in our favour in the 71st minute, with Aaron's actually playing at left back on this occasion, all the way down the line, ball back inside into Dow, and when you've got 3 AMs, typically there's going to be a few in the box, and in that moment there, we had around about 4 players who all could have scored, and we wrap up this game in 3-1 fashion to win our first Scottish trophy with a great goal from Danilo. We'll take that. The Champions League goes a lot better than actually what I may have expected, because we don't win it, obviously, but we are going to get all the way to the quarterfinals, where we put up quite a good display against Barcelona, only losing by a couple of goals overall. The round of 16, we are going to be Inter Milan 4-2, which again I think says a lot about how far we've already come. This new system really suits these players. Remember, we've not signed a single player yet, so this is using purely what they've got in real life. The league phase phase, of course, isn't in full flow yet. We are going to be in groups, and we outplace Bayern Munich, Galatasaray and Chelsea, with wins over Bayern, Chelsea, Galatasaray, not conceding a single goal in half of the games we play. We also obviously pick up 2 draws there and just 1 loss against Chelsea. So a very, very strong Champions League season, which I think we can be quite proud of. The Sports Cup final, this time against Dundee. So we're actually a little bit lucky with the teams that we're playing in the finals for season number 1, as we are going to go 1-0 up here. And the goalkeeper dives off the pitch in McCracken. He's going home early, I think. I mean, it's a great start to the game, and we build from that literally about 5 minutes after. Tavernier is going to find one of our 3AMs over the top into Shemiti, a great touchdown, and that's going to be 2 in 32 minutes. And Dundee, it is not looking great. The game could be done, and it should have been, but unfortunately Dundee are going to find a little bit of a lifeline here. A good ball through into Murray, and it is going to be a little pathway back into the game. Well, it could have been, but about 40 seconds after they take the kickoff, yeah, it does not go great. I mean, Tavernier picks it up, goes alone and absolutely lashes it into the top left-hand corner to reclaim a 3-1 lead. And this is where they really fell apart. The lonely centre-back feeds Sterling, across over the top, a poor clearance, back into Sterling, great ball from Antman, good touch, good finish, and that is going to be 4-1 in the 86th minute, and it's not the last goal. In the 92nd minute, actually going over the 2 minutes added on, as we are now approaching 93 minutes, Dow finds Cameron, unselfish, 5-1 win. Meaning if we have won the league, we have actually won the Scottish treble in season 1, and of course we get it done, and we get it done very, very well. Now, James Tavernier with 19 goals, a little bit of a reason why you should be going to get this tactic, because it really does get the best out of players. Shemiti with 37, Jack Butland the most clean sheets, 23, 22, 15, 13 with the assists. And again, this rebuild's different because it's not can we win, it's how much can we win, and can we, I guess, actually win that Champions League. So do stick around, because especially if you're a Rangers fan, you'll be loving to see this amount of success. But that is quite scary for the teams around us, because we have come in and dominated the league with no signings of my own. So this is purely down to this fantastic tactic that clearly works quite well. But next season might be different, because we are not going to have any of those loanee players joining permanently. I didn't want the centre-back, and, well, Max Aarons simply did not want to join permanently. So this now puts a completely different twist on the back line. Tavernier, 24 and 35. Now, that is some stat line, which, I mean, I will say for a right back, that is up there with what I got out of Trent in my Xabi Alonso tactic. So fair play to him. Again, we are playing in the Scottish League, it has to be remembered. Sterling, 26, very, very good. 25, 22, 17, 12, 20, 32, 9 and 5, 58 and 4 for Shemiti. I know how good this guy can actually be at the age of 22. And obviously, this man up front, 19 and 5. A very, very good return from him as well. 7 and 4 for Cameron. Cortez out on loan, 6 and 5, of course. We have got this man coming back who we might try and keep and develop a little bit. But so far in season 1, I think this is a little bit of an alarming thing for the rest of the teams, because I've not even signed a single player and we've won the Scottish treble. So with a few signings, now again, with £30 million, £31 million, are we going to welcome in Jude Bellingham? Of course not. But hopefully we can sign some younger players or tap up the free agent market. This is all about making Rangers the clear best team in Scotland. And not over just 1 year, but over half a decade. And what we've done so far, well, it's definitely a good start. I mean, you look at the schedule, look at the green and the yellow. There is hardly any losses in the entire season. And we will go and have a quick look. We go onto that league table right now. We don't lose against Celtic. We don't draw against Celtic. They're nowhere near us. And signing 1 is going to be a centre-back in Vital. He is going to come in from the Brazilian league for 9.7 million, 4 goals, 4 assists, a decent average rating, and a player that I typically wouldn't go after, but money was quite tight after giving out new contracts to certain individuals. And this player, he's a little bit quicker than some of the centre-backs we have got. He's not exactly young and future-proof, but for now he will do a lot. His only weakness really is that dribbling. You know, he's got good tackling, good marking, good heading. He's a really good centre-back, but he's definitely not perfect, and because of limited budget, we can only sign 2 players. 19 million total. The next man, Thomas Christiansen, another centre-back, 25. Again, got decent pace, good jumping, good strength, good passing, good tackling, good heading. Again, definitely not perfect, but he scored 10 goals, I imagine, from set pieces and dropped a great average rating. So between him and Vital, we've actually got a really, really good couple of centre-backs here that we did need. The centre-back area was completely lacklustre. I'm going to trust Tavernier for one more season. And worst comes to worst, one of these are going to have to cover right back. None of them can really do it. Vital can kind of do it. He'd have to if we need it, because we're really, you know, we're getting desperate for players here. But it did not affect the league. We only lose 2 games the entire season against Ross County and also Hibs, and we actually win 36. So, I mean, you can see there a 2-0 win over Celtic. How else do we beat them? 8-0, 1-0, 2 yeah, 8-0 against Celtic. I mean, that is an incredible game. We're seeing Jack Butland with the most clean sheets, Kieran Dow, James Tavernier, Oliver Antman, Nadeem, all in the assists. 20, 17, 16, 13. Dow is also going to be there. He had a great season there with 38 goal contributions. Schmitty is still bagging in goals, and to be honest, no one is near him. The closest is going to be Bowie here, who is, again, not a great player, but the second top goal scorer, so fair play to him. But already, we're seeing back-to-back league titles. Scotland might be about to be painted blue. Now, we don't improve in the Champions League, but I'm still happy with it because we're not going to beat Liverpool at this stage of the rebuild, and we don't get humiliated. Again, similar to Barcelona, it is only a 2-goal loss across 2 legs. The round of 16, we beat Inter Milan again, and we've got a habit of that now. A 6-2 win, which is really impressive. Inter Milan being obviously managed by Shivu. They're not a bad team by any means of the imagination. They've actually won the Serie A, so a very, very big statement. If we go to the league phase, we just miss out on the top 8, meaning we had to actually get past AC Milan, who again, being run by Allegri, are not a bad team at all. If we're playing an Italian team, we seem to beat them every single time, so very happy with that, to be honest. And the Scottish Cup final against St Mirren is going to be a little bit of an easier game. Again, we don't seem to be playing any of the top teams in these finals. Well, really the only top teams would be Aberdeen and Celtic that may be able to cause us some issues, but at the moment, we're playing the, let's say, the easier teams. St Mirren we should not really struggle against, and in 24 minutes we are going to make it 2, and I think there's going to be another final that is going to be, let's just say, a little bit of one-way traffic, as after this goal goes in, they are going to get a goal, but to put it blunt and honest, it was a very scrappy goal that I think should have been prevented. They weren't really playing well. It was just one of those goals that happen. And in the second half, we went a little bit more attacking, and we absolutely just killed the game off. Ruskin levels it from there. I mean, that is a strike. And after that goal went in, we had a 2-goal cushion, currently leading 3-1. 78 minutes on the clock. Sterling finds Antman, back into Sterling. Little ball inside the box. Look at the players in there. 3 players waiting, and that is going to be 4. And we could have called it there, but I carried on that attacking mentality. Davies back into Dow, back into Davies. Going to put a ball inside of the box here. Pretty direct stuff, but we'll take it. A 5-1 win. We also finally play a bit of a challenging team in a Scottish League Cup final, but we beat them 3-0. So that is going to be another Scottish treble, and I think it is only credit to how good this tactic is and how good we've come in and turned this club around. Now, money-wise, we are going to have 45 million to spend next season. Again, 0 debt in the club, and we look at the tactic and the players are absolutely firing. 42 and 8 for Schmitty, Dow 26 and 25. We've got Nadeem 24 and 14, Antman 18 and 20, Sterling 9 and 16. Tavernier had a great time. Sadly, he is now retiring, so we do need to pick up a right back because we only have King, who can play there, but he's not really great. Ruskin and Sterling also had a pretty decent season, as did our new centre-back parents. 7.32, 7.48, 7 and 10 for King. Miavisky, 6 goals, 2 and 5 for Diamande. Not really playing to his full potential, to be honest, and he could easily work his way into that team. But realistically, looking at this team on paper, we need to future-proof our goalkeeper situation. We need a new right-back, some new midfielders. There's a lot of players we need to carry on this winning formula, because it's brilliant winning this, you know, the Scottish trophies, but now I've got a taste of doing back-to-back trebles. I want to push myself in the UCL, and I do think we are a little bit away from building our way up to a final. But if we can just chip away, you know, get to a semi-final, see what happens, who knows what can happen, because when we're facing the Italian teams, we're absolutely slaughtering them. So if we can get a little bit of luck in there, maybe, where, I don't know, in the semi-finals you've still got, you know, a few Italian teams knocking about. I can't really pinpoint why we're so good against Italian teams. It might be the free backs they play, but in the league, we're firing on all cylinders as well. This tactic is transform Rangers, and that narrow system works really well because both of these players on the left and the right are told to roam and also move into channels, so they are going to almost act as wingers in some circumstances. And the fullbacks, well, we've not even really got world-class fullbacks, and they're looking absolutely insane. So let's get into season 3 of the transfers, where we have got £45 million to spend. Spent a total of 48 million this window, so a little bit over, and signing one is going to be Danilo Vega, coming in at right back. Is he the best right back in the world? No. Will he do a good job in this league? I sure hope so. Now, he's only 25, he offers decent physical attributes, decent bit of pace as well, and tackling wise he is actually really solid. Now, he comes in, doesn't do great, to be honest with you, nowhere near as good as what I thought, but for a player that cost me £3 million, just how much was I expecting? And I don't think he's going to be the only right back that I sign. Left back, I'm expecting a lot more out of Bradley Locco. He comes in from Brest in the French league, and he is actually a really well-rounded left back. Good pace, good stamina, good acceleration, good agility, good crossing, good first touch. Pretty good at most things in the game, to be honest. He's a little bit on the older side, above the mid-20 range, and of course never really played for a top team, but he has come in and done quite well. A 7.65 is nothing to be sniffed at, and you know what? I'm surprised he didn't play more games. I imagine there would have been a bit of an injury because he is our actual best left back. And it's not the only right back we sign, because we sign a star player by our standards in Emil Holm, coming in from Bologna for £12 million, 9 goals and 25 assists. A 7.89 average rating, 7 player of the matches, and this guy looks very good. Similar to the left back, he is well rounded at most things in the game. He has played at some decent clubs, the big one being Bologna in the Serie A pretty decent level. He has played European trophies, competitions, and at the end of the day, with that perfectionist personality, I'm confident he's going to come in and do really well. As he did. £1 million, we are going to pick up a player that I used to sign in every rebuild, and I took a bit of a break because I did see some comments, but it is going to be Lucas Gorna-Doaf. He comes in from Salzburg for 21 million, 5 goals, 8 assists, which from DM is really impressive. 7.35, 30 appearances, a big step up because now he's going to be expected to not only play really well over in Scotland, but also in the Champions League, Europa League, wherever we find ourselves. He's going to be the heart of that midfield, and at 24 he's got a lot to give back to pay off that transfer fee. Now, he's only on £39,000 a week, which is not bad. When I've signed him before under Chelsea or Arsenal, sometimes it's treble that, so he's taken a bit of a humble wage, to be fair to him. And the last signing of this window is going to be Valentin Atkov, coming in at centre-back, another centre-back option. He plays every game, he stays fit. He cost me £5 million, 4 assists, 3 goals, decent average rating, and a player that I think is definitely not one to scream about, but a player that we can be proud of having. And at the end of the day, it's a real serious window. £48 million spent. We've strengthened up the back line, second to none. Even this man, who's a midfield player, is going to strengthen the back line. So defensively, we should be pretty much set. Well, it definitely is in the league, as we are going to actually storm the league again, making it 3 out of 3 so far. Shemiti and Nadim are going to be your top goal scorers. Jack Butland with 24 clean sheets. Holm, 25 assists. Dow with 20, Nadim with 18. And Celtic are 18 points behind. That is humiliating. 7 draws and 5 losses. You're nowhere near. The Champions League, we scrape by and get through into that top 8, meaning we avoid having to play in this stage of things. So the round of 16 went like this. Very close. We get the job done over Arsenal, which is quite a good sign, because it's a good sign we're beating a top team that are not Italian. We can beat other teams. The quarter-final, 5-1 over Porto, probably the easiest team out of the batch right there. Into the semis, where we actually beat Inter Milan, again, 3 times, 3-2, meaning we're playing Man City, who's scraped by Chelsea 2-1. But if we look at this Man City team, obviously ran by Pep Guardiola, not an easy team to play against at all. Yeah, this is going to be interesting. And we go on to lose the Champions League final by 1 goal scored. And yes, that is right, they have got Vinicius Jr., but it was Haaland that put the dampers on it. As we also take our first cup loss in the Scottish Gas Men's Scottish Cup in the quarter-finals against Celtic, meaning that we need to win the remaining trophy to walk away with a double. So whatever happens, we're a trophy down. Which of course had to be against Celtic, didn't it? And it was a very, very dramatic game, as we are going to go 1-0 up here inside of about 90 seconds. So it's a very good start for this team, especially, you know, a team that has bottled a couple of finals now, or bottled a final, the Champions League. It's not nice to see, but Celtic are going to get back into the game, and that is why Butland will be getting replaced quite shortly. What have I just seen right there? No wonder why we didn't win the Champions League final. In the 95th minute this is now, so the first half of extra time, we are going to make it 2-1 with really good link-up play there, and again, not a good game for either of the goalkeepers. And yeah, we actually concede a penalty, which was a big gift for Celtic, because they were getting battered, and we find ourselves going to penalties, which I was not expecting. Danilo steps and scores, Neves steps and misses, Jack Butland redeeming for his mistake, as it is going to be Nadim stepping up, and he scores into the bottom right hand corner. If we save another one right now, Butland's truly redeemed. He hasn't just yet. One more save and I'll think about forgiving him. Diamande steps up and scores, never in doubt, into the top left hand corner. McGregor is going to step up and scores into the top right hand corner. Dow, the rain is tipping it down. That is brave in rainy conditions and a cup final. That is shocking from him. We are going to see a Celtic man step and miss, and Butland has redeemed himself, and we win 4-2. That is going to be 2 trophies this season, so we are a trophy down, but truth be told, it's such a big improvement in the Champions League. How can I be annoyed? I can't really be annoyed, can I, you know? It's a significant improvement. We've still won the league, we've still won a Scottish Cup. Yes, we don't win the actual Scottish Cup, we win the League Cup, but we've still done really well. And money wise, we have now got 25 million. So this is where it gets challenging, because in an English team rebuild, if you get to a Champions League final, you win the league and a cup, they'll typically give you more and more money, so you can keep on pushing to make it happen. This has not happened over in Scotland, so we've got very minimal funds to actually improve this team. But looking at it, it has to be spent on a future-proof goalkeeper, maybe some free agents if there's any good players about. I mean, if we actually go on to the scouting now, and let's just go and have a little look at some of the expired contracts. There's no one really standing now. Okay, now there is. Gibbs White, I'll take him in a flash, but I doubt he'd join. Who else have you got? I wouldn't sign Coman. I'll take Charles de Ketelaere. I'll take Robinson for a season. This might be a free agent window. Oscar, I'll take him as well. This is going to be interesting. Well, a lot of players joining, but only £10 million spent up front, and the first player is going to be Denzel Garcia, coming in from the Mexican League for 7 million, 3 goals, 5 assists, and he's just a really good option to have in midfield. Great first touch, good passing range, good leadership, good determinations, a bit of a younger player compared to the other midfield players we have, and it's a decent first season for a player that has never stepped foot in Scotland. So I mean, it's a bit of a cultural change from Mexico to Scotland, and he's done fairly well to him, to be fair to him. And the last paid signing of the window is going to be Roy Stewart, a good goalkeeper, not my go-to choice all the time, a new signing that I've never played with before. He cost me 3.2 million and did keep 17 clean sheets, so to be fair to him, He is a player that already has stepped foot in some pretty big doors. Ajax, Leverkusen, PSV, you know, he's been about a little bit, but I'm just hoping he can find a little bit of stability in the Scottish League. Signing number 1 is going to be Sebastian Vegas, coming in at centre-back purely because he was free, low wage, and already is wanted by Al Rayad and Damak. That could be a little bit of money coming our way. But he comes in, plays almost every game, drops a good average rating, 4 goals, 2 assists, and I just had to pick him up because he's already pre-built. I knew he was going to play somewhat to a good level, and he cost me nothing. So for a season, I'll happily add a player to my account. Mason Mount, yeah, that Mason Mount that has played for Derby, Chelsea and Manchester United. He's now going to be at Rangers, and I got him purely because of versatility and reputation. Now he comes in on the free, 27 goal contributions out of 33 games. He's not half bad. 7.5 average rating, and a player that is just known for being a hard worker, versatile, and on his day can be a real tricky player. And because he took a pay cut, he's now only on 85k a week, I could tell he actually wanted to come, so that's why we signed him. Also pick up Charles de Ketelaere, coming in from Atalanta, AC Milan and also Club Brugge, a star William Hill player, elite attacking midfield player, good physical stats, technically and mentally very gifted, and of course we have got 3 slots in that AM role, and he will 100% occupy one, 100%, and he does, and he also has a great season. Now what would be even nicer, what would really put the cherry on top of Mount, Charles de Ketelaere, what would complete that front trio, that front 3? Morgan Gibbs-White, coming in on the free from Nottingham Forest, a very big name signing. We have replaced our entire front 3 to feed that striker. He also has a great season, a very good season there, with 30 goal contributions, and we have replaced a big part of our team with 3 very big names in Mount, Charles de Ketelaere, Gibbs-White, but in the same window brought in a centre-back, a young goalkeeper, and of course a DM. This is the best window by far. £10 million is all we spent. And it should come to no surprise that we are going to be in the Scottish Cup final. Now we are playing against Celtic, so a bit of a tough game, and Holm is going to play a wonderful ball across in to Shamiti, who is going to make it 1-0 in 16 minutes. But as I said, we are playing Celtic. They are not an easy team, but they are easy enough to go 2-0 up against. Gibbs-White into Holm playing a big part in this game, back into Gibbs-White, and that is why you sign a deal with him, because he can score goals. Now, credit where it is due to Rangers, or to Celtic should I say, Turkey, who they are going to somehow get on loan, is going to get a goal before the second half starts, but it's nowhere near enough. Gorna is going to find Holm again, into Garcia, little touch on the ball, into Loco, into the big man up front. A simple 3-1 win. Also lock in a 4th back-to-back league win title, which is some statement, with Mason Mount being one of the top goal scorers, Bojan being one of our top goal scorers, Roy instantly the most clean sheets tied with the Celtic goalkeeper, as you can see right here. We are going to see Loco, Gibbs-White and Charles de Ketelaere all be in the assists, and quite funny that 2 of the free agent signings are the 2 best performers, so we didn't just get the window right, we dominated the transfer window. By far, we are the best team in this league now, and this is exactly what I wanted to achieve. Other cup final against Greenock Morton is going to be a bit of a bloodbath. Let's just say that, because they're a bit of an easier team to play, and Gibbs-White is going to make it 1-0 inside of 7 minutes. And to be honest, as soon as I saw the opposition, I knew this was a stat padding game. I put my best team out because it is a cup final, and this big man up front is going to grab a second goal inside of 14 minutes. So between him and Gibbs-White, they are running that front line, and we keep on going. Mason Mount is going to find Charles de Ketelaere, a good overlap and run into Loco, who of course has got so much space, into Gorna, little touch inside, and you can make that 3 in the first half alone. Now, there was a little quiet part of this game until the 62nd minute, and then we started to rev things up a little bit again. Gibbs-White down the right hand side, again so much space. This team need a lesson in defending and quite clearly goalkeeping, as we are going to make it 4 in 62 minutes. Gibbs-White, you score from there, you're some player, and of course he nearly does, but we'll take the rebound, a 5-0 advantage, and I'd like to say it ended there, but it didn't. We are really going to put the dagger in today as Holm is going to pick it up on the right-hand side into Gibbs White, takes on his man, and yeah, he's some player, isn't he? So it is going to be the Scottish treble. Sadly, no Champions League, but we have got one last roll of the dice to make that happen. It's not a bad display, you know, semi-finals is quite good, nearly making another final appearance, but one goal in it separated us and Man City. The quarterfinals, we are going to beat Dortmund 3-1, so again, really cool to see that we can beat teams that aren't only Italian. Round of 16, we smash Bayern 8-1, so clearly this was the season of taking out two of Germany's finest. Going into that league phase, we are going to do quite well actually, with wins over Lazio, Juve, Dynamo Kiev, Slavia Prague and Liverpool. So to be honest with you, if we can bring in a couple more players, I think we could have a run at the Champions League. But again, money-wise, 25 million. You don't get very far with that. I do genuinely think this is a rebuild where if we had one mega window, a £70 million window for example, we could easily have won the Champions League already. But of course we've got one more season and I'm so confident in Catalair, Gibbs White and Mount. I mean 26 and 14, 22 and 28, 23 and 25. Our striker 46 and 3. This man in Bohan has just come right in and said, yeah, I'm getting first team football. And why not? With 9 composure, clearly it means some stats don't matter. 37 goals across the whole season. And you've still got the likes of Shimiti with 17, 1 and 10 for Vega, a lot of players chipping in with the goals. Loco with 25 assists, Holm with 24, our goalkeeper doing relatively well. But yeah, it's one last roll at the dice to win the biggest trophy in club football. Sadly, there's no loyalty in the game because Charles de Ketelaere is going to take a move to Liverpool. Now, it was already agreed because they paid his release clause of 33 million. He would only join with that release clause, by the way. Before you wonder, why would you give him one? There was no other way. So we lose a big part of that central three. I can see why he would go because it's a massive club to go to. But yeah, it would have been nice to keep him. Also, we are going to lose Denzel Garcia. He goes right away to Manchester United for 22 million. So I will say, business-wise, we've had a sensational season. Now, there wasn't really too many AMs on the market to bring in, so I've not replaced him directly, but I've spent that money in other places. The first place is going to be welcoming Diakate from Bournemouth, Lille and Toulouse, 29 years of age, 30 million, a big investment, but he is a really, really good centre-back because he's got the pace, the strength, the stamina, the acceleration, the marking, the tackling, the heading, the dribbling, the anticipation. He is older, but he's pre-built. And we're going into a season now where I want to try and win a Champions League. I need a big centre-back that can already do it. And this guy has played nothing but good for Bournemouth and also good for us in the league. So fingers crossed that happens in the Champions League. Keith Davis is going to come in on the free purely for another option, and with that 16 crossing, I'm hoping he can really play a big part in getting some assists, and he does. 20 assists in his first season. Of course, a man who has been playing for Ipswich Town now for years upon years, but finally found a new home over in Scotland, and yeah, he's done relatively well. The last signing of this video is going to be Toby Collier, coming in from Manchester United, another deeper player. He technically could play as an AP as well, but not a direct replacement. He comes in and does very well at his job. So do you know what? Looking back at these windows as Jack Butland also goes and also Joe Rothwell leaves, we have had some very good windows, and I think no player has really flopped. Don't get me wrong, some players have stood out more than others, but we have made a lot of money in these past couple windows. We've spent wisely. Free agents we have used very well this video, and it would be a shame not to win the Champions League in the last season, but of course there's no guarantee. So we'll start off with the Scottish Cup final against Celtic, which we are going to start off hot with our new centre-back. A great ball from Gibbs White to go 1-0 up in 16 minutes. Vegas on the ball into Diakate again, our new centre-back. Great ball through, and Diakate is, you know, he's got a goal and also played a big part in the second goal in 42 minutes. And this is a great sign of hopefully what he can do as we win this again 3-0. Meaning the Scottish Gasmen Scottish Cup, we have won a staggering 4 times out of 5. I think it's safe to say that we are definitely the best Scottish team for that trophy. Can't win in the last season the League Cup though. Celtic are a little bit too strong on the day in the semi-finals. Now, overall, we have won this 4 times as well. So, do you know what? This is another trophy we can officially claim we're the best at. The league, we sign off in style. Our first invincible season, 5 back-to-back, all runners-up being Celtic. No questions asked to have we dominated the league? Do I need to ask the question? Of course I don't. We are seeing Leif Davis instantly become the top assister and the best average rating player. Again, really showcasing how well we have done to get these signings right. Mason Mount, Holm and Shemiti all going to be up there. Roy, the most clean sheets again. Bojan, Shemiti, Mason Mount, all up there with the goals. An invincible season, 108 points. And that is now 5 times Celtic have fallen short at the hurdle. Not great, but also what's not great is we don't win the Champions League. We are going to fall against Barcelona in the quarterfinals, which means we don't tick off that part of the video, but that's going to be your challenge back home to try and win that Champions League, which you can go over and grab this save file from the Patreon, of course, with the tactic, and it's not just this one, it's my entire year's worth, so make sure you go and check that out. But I mean, overall, we can be happy, you know, we've got that 4-star reputation, we've got a club that has won a lot more of these wonderful Scottish trophies. You've got a club which now has a budget of, that's pretty decent, £43 million for you to spend. You've got basically a debt-free club, and you've got a team that is very unique but very well performing, and with the right certain candidates coming in, you are this close, I genuinely think, to being competitive for a Champions League. I mean, we've got to a final, so we are literally quite competitive, and that is going to be Rangers rebuilt in an emergency way. Let me know what you think of the rebuild. Let me know, would you be happy with this success in 5 years? And also, do remember, FM26 is around the corner. The beta is predicted to drop next week now, around Thursday. So pre-order it, make sure you got that pre-ordered. Make sure you sign up to that Patreon, because we are going to have daily beta tactics coming out. And we're going to go mental next year. A lot of content planned with myself, with other creators as well. Make sure you lock on in, and I'll be catching you in the next one. Enjoy the rest of your day.